In the hustle and bustle of Singapore, a city that seemed to never sleep, I found myself navigating a new life. It was a time when I had just moved to this vibrant city and managed to secure a job at a small-scale magazine editorial office. What made it even more special was that the boss himself hailed from my home country, creating an instant connection and camaraderie. The office was a cozy setup, and to save on rent, my boss graciously allowed me to stay within the premises. There was, however, one condition, a condition that added a layer of secrecy and excitement to my everyday life. I had to ensure that the building management remained oblivious to my presence after working hours, a pact I willingly entered into. On the same floor, across the hallway, was a dermatology office, and it was there that I found myself captivated by the receptionist. From the first moment our eyes met, a spark ignited within me, and I couldn't help but develop a crush on her. She was more than just a pretty face, there was an aura of kindness and warmth that drew me in. Days turned into weeks, and my infatuation grew. I became the silent admirer, always finding excuses to be around her, offering a helping hand whenever possible. Small talk became a routine, and we would often find ourselves sharing lunch at the Mamak across the building. It wasn't a coincidence, though. I had mastered the art of timing, discreetly observing her lunch break and conveniently joining her at the same time. As the days passed, I couldn't shake off the feeling that my actions bordered on the line of being creepy and stalkerish. The truth was, it was a fool's love, and my heart yearned to take our interactions beyond the casual encounters in the office hallway. The real challenge lay ahead, gathering the courage to ask her out. My pockets were as empty as my heart was full, and the prospect of a romantic gesture seemed like an impossible feat. Yet every day, I found myself daydreaming about the possibility of sharing more than just lunch breaks and stolen glances. Despite the hurdles, there was a certain magic in the air, an unspoken connection that seemed to transcend the boundaries of our professional lives. I yearned for the day when I could muster the courage to confess my feelings, despite the financial constraints that held me back. And so, my days in the magazine editorial office became a delicate dance between professional obligations and the silent longing for a love that, for now, remained unspoken and hidden in the corridors of a small-scale setup in the heart of Singapore. A few months later, mid-December had arrived, and the offices hummed with the anticipation of Christmas decorations. As the festive spirit filled the air, I found myself facing a chilling encounter that would shatter the illusion of holiday cheer. It began innocently enough when she asked me to stay back late and help decorate the office space. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to muster the courage to ask her out, and I readily agreed. The decorations stored in the basement, along with other supplies for each office, presented an opportunity for a quiet moment between the receptionist and me. Heading towards the basement, she casually mentioned that the lights were out and the elevator on the basement floor was out of order. While it initially struck me as an issue for building management or security, she then revealed a startling development. Multiple doors had been broken down, indicating a break-in. With only one security guard on duty during off hours, a sense of unease settled in. Despite my initial reservations, I chose to play the hero, assuring her that she need not worry as I accompanied her to retrieve her belongings. With only a flashlight in hand, I ventured into the dark maze of corridors, with her trailing closely behind. Navigating through the different office storage units, each with its own unique atmosphere, presented a surreal experience. I won't deny that there was a certain nerve-wracking quality to the situation, but it also offered me a chance to play the hero. The broken doors stood as stark evidence of a deliberate intrusion, some so severely damaged that it appeared as if an axe had been employed. As we pressed further into the depths, the tension in the air became palpable, and my unease heightened with each step. Unease settled in, and my initial bravado began to wane. Peering into each room, I anticipated signs of theft, but to my surprise, everything appeared intact, no trace of a theft. The intruder had a purpose, though it wasn't immediately clear what that purpose was. With each step, our nerves heightened, and she clung tightly to me as we delved deeper. The realization hit me. I wasn't armed, and it was too perilous to continue searching in the basement with the potential of an armed intruder. Fear gripped both of us, and truth be told, I was more frightened than she was. Suddenly, a distant slam reverberated through the basement, leaving behind an eerie silence. Each footstep echoed louder, intensifying the sense that we were not alone. In an attempt to assert some control over the situation, I called out into the darkness, the words escaping almost impulsively. "Anyone here?" The silence that followed was deafening. The realization hit that retreating was the wisest decision. This was no longer a task for two inexperienced individuals. Approaching the stairs brought a fleeting sense of relief, abruptly cut short. A heavy breathing sound emanated from around the final corner, a breath distinctly foreign to both of us. In that moment, a thought raced through my mind. Why am I risking myself in such a situation? No amount of love or number of girls is worth it. Panic gripped me as I tiptoed around the corner, extinguishing the flashlight, with her clutching tightly to my arms as she followed suit. The breathing ceased, and an eerie silence enveloped us. Succumbing to a momentary lapse in judgment, I blurted out, "Hello, is there anybody out there?" before impulsively turning the flashlight back on. Though the light wasn't precisely aimed in that direction, I discerned an unnervingly tall, hunched-over figure facing the wall, gripping a long object. As the light hit, the figure's face turned toward us, an abnormally pale, elongated visage that I dared not scrutinize for too long. In that moment, my priorities abruptly shifted, and the thought, "Forget love, my life is more important," echoed in my head. Without hesitation, I shook her off my arm, turned, and sprinted out of the basement, unleashing a high-pitched girlish shriek that seemed to belong to someone else entirely. I yelled, "The police are on their way! Leave or you'll be caught!" Reaching the lobby, I swiftly secured the basement door and dialed the police. Just as I did, there was a sudden bang on the door. It was the receptionist. Without hesitation, I opened the door, ushered her in, and promptly locked it again. A fleet of police cars arrived, and the officers descended into the basement. I anxiously waited in the lobby until they returned, alone. To my surprise, they hadn't found anyone down there. The building's electrician later discovered tampered breakers, accounting for the darkness. Even with the lights restored, the police were unable to locate the intruder. The presence of multiple stairways offered an escape route he might have exploited. As you can imagine, leaving my crush stranded in the basement, slamming the door on her, and promptly locking it before she had a chance to get out marked the epic, albeit unintentional, conclusion to my romantic escapade. Needless to say, our love story took a nosedive from which it never recovered. Every accidental encounter thereafter earned me a disdainful look, one that could rival Medusa's petrifying gaze. Her eyes bore into me with profound disgust, as if I had committed the crime of the century. Determined to sidestep any further awkward moments, I meticulously scheduled my lunch breaks, ensuring they never coincided with hers. The basement scare not only rattled me to the core, but likely had an even more profound effect on her, morphing my failed romance into a quirky tale of missed connections and a haunted basement. Thank you for watching AikDastaan, where every tale is a testament to the human spirit and every voice resonates with the truth as they perceive it.